Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to another chapter of Thoughts on Education. Today we have Dr. Abhishek with us. Dr. Abhishek heads the programs at BITSoM. Earlier, he was the dean for MMS program at NMIMS Mumbai. Prior to that, he was the director of IFIM Business School. He has been the chair professor of strategy and dean at the IMI New Delhi for 5 years. He did his doctorate in strategy and innovation management from Sheffield University, UK. He has been a dean and he has been a dean for past 10 years now. He has served organizations like IIM Lucknow, MDI Gurgaon, Ford School of Management, New Delhi, and Malviya National Institute of Technology, Jaipur. In all, he has spent more than 25 years in academics. At IIM Lucknow, he was the chairman of the Strategic Management and Entrepreneurship Group and chairman of Management Development Programs. He is an avid researcher and writer and has research papers, books chapter, and article to his credit. With this note, I would like to welcome Dr. Abhishek on our platform. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in.
Thank you, Priyanshu. So kind of you.
Yes, sir. So, sir, now we will proceed with our first question of this interview. So, sir, you have been connected to the Education Institute throughout your professional career. So, I just wanted to ask you, like, how has your experience been so far, and what keeps you connected with the education sector?
Well, it's been a great journey for me. Right after my MBA, I worked with a startup for about 6 months and I realized that possibly I find my calling in helping the future generations learn and do better and better as compared to what we had done. So there was a sort of a gap that I found in what I had learned and what I would like the future generations to learn. So that's what prompted me to academics. And over the past 25 years, been a good journey. Learned a lot, grown with organizations that I moved to. MDI, IIM Lucknow, IMI Delhi. These have been great places to work and learn. And I work very hard on these places. Traveled the whole world thanks to all these organizations and my stint on management development programs that took me places. So I've been a corporate trainer besides being a faculty and researcher. So that has given me an edge in terms of being fairly well connected to the industry. My primary intent of being in education is, as I said, it helps me stay connected with the youth. Every batch that comes is a new batch. It's a new cohort of people who are young, talented, eager to learn, and every year you see a different batch which comes. So it's a fairly challenging task because every batch and within every batch there's a very diverse fabric which you find. So it's been a great journey, and right now I'm at a place where we are building possibly one of the best programs that one would see in India in today's times and the times to come.
Right, great, sir. Yes. So, sir, we'll just move on to our second question of this interview. So, I would like to ask you, like, being the head of program at BITSoM, what do you think your roles and responsibilities are towards the students?
Well, in an MBA program, what is critical is the student learning experience, and that is a fairly holistic aspect. It's not just about having the best of faculty. It's not just about having the best of infrastructure. It's not just about having the best of students. It's about the interactive combination of all of these and the seamlessness of the whole process of getting the new cohort of students and taking them through a throughput and finishing them off with the employable, ready to deliver on day one type of students. So my responsibility is to ensure that the student learning experience is complete. And as the head of the program, I look after the content of the program, the delivery of the program. We do a lot of feedback sessions, and we also try to. I also try to understand that how can we do better, because that's a constant pursuit that we have. That how can we do better in terms of the program delivery, the program content. At the same time, one very important role that I have is to ensure that the content is as per the requirements of the industry. So it's not just contemporary, but it's also future oriented, because we are not just looking at a year-on-year movement. We're looking at a substantial growth, and that by growth I mean the growth among the students, and not so much about the institutional growth. The institutions will grow if the students grow. So the end-to-end task is to ensure that the academic delivery, including the student learning experience, they have the right kind of environment for learning, they have the right type of facilities, the learning resources that are available to them, that has to be completely hands-on. If I need certain information, it should not be that I have to wait for 3 days to get some information. I should be able to get that instantly. So creating that complete environment and ensuring that everything is in place, everything works in sync, to ensure that as and when their learning needs are there, and as and when they want to pick up things, they're able to do that. Yes, there is no doubt that we have possibly the best faculty that we have chosen. They are the best in class in the world, and that is evident from the type of feedback that we get from the students, that course after course, the feedback has been absolutely outstanding. We do not have any faculty who has even, I would say, who could be classified as very good. They're all outstanding faculty in terms of teaching, in terms of delivery, in terms of content, in terms of the type of feedback they provide. So it's fairly comprehensive part that I look after.
Right. So, sir, you have talked about faculties and academics. So, B schools are generally known for the holistic development of a student, right? So, in the holistic development, one important element is the extracurricular activities. So, I would just like to know what all extracurricular activities are there in BITSoM, that ensures the full holistic development of the students.
Right. So, Priyanshu, we have about 15 clubs, and there are about 8 professional clubs, I would say, and there are about 7 socio-cultural clubs, which are about having a different flavor that serves, which is photography and dance and music and those type of clubs. So those are the talent clubs that I call them, and they are professional clubs which are focusing specifically on functional domains, analytics, marketing, finance, operations, consulting, and the whole student activity is based on those. And we have 5 committees, which are again student committees, which work with the institution activities like BITSoM. You would be aware of what BITSoM does, and we have an academic committee, we have a campus life committee, which ensures that there is vibrancy within the campus. There is some or the other engagement going on, so that although we are in the virtual mode, we do activities which ensure that there is life on campus. So there are a lot of campus activities. There are a lot of clubs and committees which are actively working. Each of them has a mentor, and the mentor is not essentially somebody from BITSoM. It can be an industry professional as well. So that's one part of the activities. We have a very interesting concept called the BITSoM Leadership Series, where we have industry stalwarts this is a fortnightly event. We have industry stalwarts who come and interact with the students for about an hour and 30 minutes every fortnight. And it's a very interesting model that it is not a one-way delivery, it's an interactive session. So there is question and answer back and forth that happens. We've had one international speaker on that, who's a renowned venture fund partner. We have one coming up in October, who's also a renowned person on change and strategic transformation from the United States. So that is the second initiative that we run. Besides that, we do a lot of activities. There's one activity which we call the personal development plan. So uh, we have certain senior leaders, including our dean, Professor Banerjee, who do a one-on-one with every student to ensure that the student is able to understand himself, identify his areas of strengths and weaknesses, and then is able to somehow, you know, strengthen his strengths and possibly try and get rid of his weaknesses. That would make him a more appropriately placed professional in terms of what he has to deliver in tomorrow's time. So that we call as the PDP. We have a mentoring program where a group of students are mentored by a senior industry professional. That is also a very interesting activity where they learn about what is happening in the industry today, and at the same time they are able to understand, map what are their career aspirations. They are able to understand where should they head for, what is the right area for them to work. So that's another activity, and similarly we have a lot of effort that is going on in terms of helping them get ready for the internships and placements. So it's a constant endeavor that we try to help them. What we get is a semi-finished product, right? If I could say, because he's a graduate who's come to us. And over these 2 years, we try to make him a finished product, which is ready for the industry. And it's a fairly intense activity. I must say that classroom teaching is only 4.5 hours a day, but the student is completely busy. We are at the end of almost term one. We're just about a week away from term one end, and the student doesn't have too much of time to think about anything, because there is something or the other that he's engaged with. He's doing something, he's busy, and all the effort is focused towards one single point, which is to make him a professional who's ready to work and deliver, understands the ground realities, and is poised to make a mark for himself when he joins the industry tomorrow. So a lot of activities going on.
That's great, sir. So, sir, we all know that the basic difference between graduation and post-graduation, basically post-graduation from B schools. So, the basic difference in teaching comes from the what B schools offer is the practical approach to every subject, right? So, yeah. I just wanted to understand, like, how do you bring in the practical approach at BITSoM towards the subjects, and how do you prepare your students accordingly?
So to start with, Priyanshu, the kind of faculty that we have for this program, they are all people who have a very strong research as well as practitioner type of view. So that is one aspect. The other aspect of it is that every student has to undertake one live project every term. So that is the second part where they're going to be exposed to the practical realities of the world. The leadership series is doing a good job on that because they always talk about what is the practical world like, and we have a mixed cohort of students. So there are a lot of students who have with work experience, and they certainly guide and advise the freshers who are there in the batch that how is the workplace going to be. So besides the live project, besides the mentoring, which is again something to do with understanding the practical realities, the internship that will come up after the end of first year next year, this will be from April to June end. That is going to be an eye-opener. The students are free to pursue activities beyond what is the curriculum demands for them. And then the clubs and committees also bring in that element of what is the reality of the workplace, and how do you do things at the place of work, and how do you learn from them. So there is a fairly comprehensive, I would say it's a very holistic model which works. At the same time, we have something along with the core courses, which is called winning at the workplace. Now, what happens is that what we've observed earlier is that there is a lot to do with the perspective that a person comes to the workplace with.
Right.
And believing that the workplace, if you want to do well at the workplace, you have to have the right kind of attitude and the right kind of perspective. To build that perspective, we've got something called the winning at the workplace courses, which are not directly, I would not say they are subjects to do with the domains of marketing, finance, or business world per se, but they are there to build a perspective. Like we have a course on well-being and success. And these are small modules. These are 12-hour courses, which are credited, but they're very interesting courses. There's a course on whole brain thinking. Right. Now, whole brain thinking has nothing to do with the business world, but it's all about the way that you think. I mean, are you only using the convergent side or the linear thinking side, or are you using both the lateral and horizontal thinking part? And the necessity to use both in order to be able to excel at the workplace. We've had a course called Navigating Reason, which is about understanding how people reason and how do they take decisions over a period of time. Going forward, then there's a very interesting course that they've just been through that is called Learning to Learn, which is, how does learning happen? How does one learn? What is the necessity to learn? And how can you be a lifelong learner? What are the critical points that you need to be ready with when you want to learn? Now, when a person goes with that learning perspective to a workplace, he's not going there thinking that I would go and do this and that, and then the world will be different. He's going there with the intention that I'm going to learn, at the same time I'm going to deliver. So it's a combination of things which are happening. Then we are going to have design thinking workshop in the next term, and that again is a 12-hour module on design thinking, which is going to be interesting. We're doing things like research methods. So besides the courses on consumer behavior or marketing research, we have a complete course on research methods, which is a winning at the workplace course. So it is not, and all winning at the workplace courses are practical courses. There aren't too many, there isn't a winning at the workplace course where there is knowledge being provided. It is all about the skill set, right, or the perspective. So how do you think? That is one element. And how do you do things? That's the second element. So, and you can imagine, in 1 year, the student will be doing 18 winning at the workplace courses in year 1, and an equally 18 number in year 2. So 36 courses on winning at the workplace, and about, that is 15 and 18, that is 33 courses, which will be, the professional courses, the core courses and the elective over a period of 2 years. So we are trying to ensure that from all sides of, all aspects of an individual are developed, harnessed, and fostered to the extent that he grows completely, not just in one specific dimension of, being professionally sound, that he's become a good marketing guy or become a good finance person. No, we want him to be a good, complete thinker, professional, a better human being, a more proficient person to deal with people. So every aspect that is required in the workplace, there is a module which is going to on the winning at the workplace, which is to do with how do you understand technology, how do you appreciate technology. Going forward, technology is going to become an essential at the workplace. You would very well appreciate we are using technology right now to deliberate on what we are doing at BITSoM, and this is just one small part of it, but the larger part is how do you work in a collaborative environment using technology? How do virtual teams operate? And it's not about how they operate, but even the nitty-gritty of how that's done. So there is the idea is it's a holistic perspective that we want to build, We want to build the skills and competences. We want to make them knowledgeable, and we want to make them professionals who understand where they're heading for, and then they're taking the steps forward. So, and in my 25 years in management education in this country, I have not seen a program which, in such a concise and comprehensive way, has addressed every aspect of the growth of an individual. In every place, I've found that there are a lot of gaps which are left, and the student is left to fend for himself to understand how do I fill up those gaps. But here we are not leaving any gap to any individual or any entity to worry about. We are trying to ensure that every aspect is covered, and when he gets to the workplace, people find the difference that okay, this is a BITSomian. That's why he's different. So that's the whole idea.
Right, so sir, I agree with your one point that in just 2 years, in just this concise period that we have, your school, your BITSOM tries to cover every aspect of the individual and try to do the holistic development. And sir, just to summarize what you have said till now is, apart from the curriculum or apart from just the books or the bookish language, BITSOM tries to cover every aspect beyond the curriculum as well. There are extracurricular activities, there are different modules, there are different courses. One that you have mentioned is winning at the workplace. So it's basically all practical, and it all tries to basically build the personality of the individual and prepare them for the corporate world. Right.
Yeah.
Sir, so my next question to you is, what would you like people to know about your institute that they may not know currently?
Okay. We are an institution which has, I would say, we carry the legacy of one institution and one, I would say the institution that's BIS Pilani. And the second part is that our program is not just for today, it is for the future. It's a program which is unique in every aspect, even to the extent the content of the curriculum and the way that it is being taught is not run-of-the-mill. So statistics is not taught the way that statistics is taught everywhere, that we teach people what is mean, median, mode, or how to do regression. No. Here it's all about practical examples. There are news clips which are used to explain statistical concepts. The examination that evaluates them is again something to do with some piece of a newspaper which reports certain information. How do you infer from that? And so it's a very applied kind of program in terms of the approach of teaching. We are not doing the run-of-the-mill manic and financial management, or this marketing and that marketing. The whole treatment is completely different, and that is something which one can understand when one goes through something of that sort. So we also have a course which I'm very sure that it's not there anywhere else in the country. It's called Decision Making and Uncertainty. Right. So we are looking at situations in the business world where there can be uncertainty. It could be a finance situation, it could be a marketing situation, it could be an operation situation, it could be a combination of more than one functional domain, maybe a strategic domain, let us say. And how do you take decisions in those situations? And this is a course that we've just completed, and oh my God, it's been received so well. So I would say it's a program which is for the future. It's an institution which is aiming for growth. And when I say growth, I mean to say that we want to be known as providing the right kind of professionals to the industry that the industry requires at this time. And to do all that, we have everything on the ground which is in place to ensure that we are able to deliver. So we are an institution which delivers on our promise of taking a good, diverse cohort of students and delivering a fantastic cohort of professionals to the industry. So that's the major difference that we are making. Everything here is different. Winning at the workplace is different. The core course structuring is different. We are using the block teaching method, which is unheard of in this country. If I could just elaborate on that, block teaching is that one core course or one professional course, which is, let us say the core course. I mean, because we're in year one, so let us use the term which is commonly understood. One core course and one winning at the workplace course run parallel for 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, we complete a 30-hour core course and a 12-hour winning at the workplace course. And everything in those 2 weeks happens on that course, including evaluation, including assignment, including instruction. And once that is over, the next 2 weeks are for the second block of 2 courses. So this is a concept which is there in some parts. Very few institutions in the world are using it. We opted for it and we found immense benefit. The rigor is the same in terms of the intensity of the program is rather more, if you see. And the learning is enormous, because when I look at a discipline where I have to spend, let us say, 3 months to learn that complete discipline, and I'm spending concise 2 weeks on that discipline, the same amount of time I'm spending in the classroom, I'm doing assignments, my whole learning is very, very different as compared to what it would be over a scattered space of 3 months or 11 weeks as the normal IM system runs it. So block teaching, a future-oriented program, we stand on our commitment of what we commit, we deliver, and we are poised to be one of those institutions which delivers on its promise. So that's, I would say, what is the biggest difference that we stand as compared to any other institution in the country.
That's really great, sir. So we have talked about the greatest strengths of BITSoM and all the activities that BITSoM provides. So I would just like to understand, what are the biggest challenges that you feel are there for BITSoM, and both for higher education as well and for BITSoM?
Well, the challenge for higher education is, I would say, twofold. We are in a country which is, my views may be a bit radical. You might feel my views a bit radical, but I believe we have to get out of the mindset of, what should I say? What would be the right word? Studying for qualification or studying for grades to studying for learning.
Studying for degree or
Yes, so studying for qualification or studying for learning or for knowledge of our skills. So I believe higher education institutions are struggling with it and will struggle with it for a while, until unless they change their approach in terms of shifting from teaching to learning. I hope you understand what I'm trying to point at, right?
Right.
And well, at BITSoM, we are a young institution, and we don't have precedents or past trends to justify what we are capable of delivering. That is the biggest challenge that we have faced with. Otherwise, everything that at BITSoM that is in place is in such form that we will be able to deliver on our commitment. But the challenges of establishing credibility in the minds of the different stakeholders. So that would be the prospective student, the prospective recruiter, the one that is extremely important for a business school.
Right.
And also for the people who would think of working at BITSoM. Now, very quickly, in a moment, I would like to tell you that at BITSoM, the environment is extremely positive, constructive. We work as a complete team together, and our leader, Professor Banerjee, ensures that that the team remains together all the time, and which is a fantastic feeling. And I must tell you, I worked at, if you see, I worked at a variety of institutions in this country. I have never seen this type of an environment that I see here, and that's one of the biggest pull that I would say. If anybody wants to work at BITSoM, this is the biggest pull. You have freedom, you have autonomy, and because you have freedom and autonomy, you're supposed to be responsible, and if you deliver, everything is wonderful. And because of all these situations, one is able to deliver. So it's a very constructive, positive, optimistic environment that we have, and that is a very important element for any institution to be successful and be able to deliver on its promise, because we work together as a team. We regularly interact, we regularly communicate, we regularly meet each other, and we always, our single focus is to ensure an outstanding student learning experience. Because if that is achieved, then our final goal of getting a student who's professionally sound to join the corporate world will be achieved successfully. So for BITSoM, it's more about being a newbie, a new kid on the block, and trying to establish his credibility. I think within a year or so, people will see that we mean business, and we will deliver on our promise, and certainly we will, become an institution to reckon with. So I'm extremely positive about that. We are working very hard on that.
Exactly.
So that's about it.
Yes, sir. That was really insightful. Sir, before we go, I would just like to ask the last question. So, are there any advices or suggestions that you would like to give to the aspiring students?
Well, I would only give one advice, and that is focus on learning. Don't focus or don't worry about grades. If you are focused on learning and you're working hard, grades will automatically fall in place. But grades don't define your life, they don't define your career. It's only one small aspect of a very, very large life that one has ahead of them. So the focus has to be purely on learning and trying to give their best while they're studying as a student. If they give their best, they appreciate what is the effort that's going on. They care for holistic learning. Grades are an outcome of that. So if you're focused on learning, grades will automatically come. But if you're driven by grade, I don't think learning will happen at all. No, it won't happen.
Right, exactly.
So focus on learning, not on grades, for that matter.
Exactly, sir. Sir, thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights with us. It indeed was really an insightful session, and thank you so much for taking your time and coming on.
It's a pleasure, Priyanshu. Thank you so much, and all your good wishes are required, because we are doing our bit. But people who care for us, I mean, their good wishes are always required to ensure that we are able to achieve what we want.
Exactly, sir. We will always stand with you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priyanshu. Thank you.